don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.
Join our Facebook group, Discovering Newfoundland.
I've been making snowshoes for a long time. I was after selling snowshoes all over Canada. Not every province now, but it's Northern Ontario, Yellowknife, Fort McMurray, Grand Prairie. I even had to try making snowshoes out of rawhide. I made my own rawhide.
Oh wow.
That's a piece of moose skin, look, that's made into rawhide.
Mm-hmm.
And when you wet that and you cut it right around with a good pair of sharp scissors or something, you make lace out of it.
Yes.
And then you can lace it into a snowshoe. I only made one pair because it was so dirty and hard to manage, right? Like, gee whiz. I believe I even threw one in the bathtub one time trying to get the hair scraped off.
So this is your old boat building shed?
This is my little boat building shed, yeah, for my smaller boats, up to 14.5 feet.
Wow.
And there's other ones I used to build them on my old sawmill, but my old sawmill is dilapidated so bad now I had to give it up there. Although I got 2 boats stored up there right now. I painted my glazed door, the scene on my glazed door there.
I noticed that. I was thinking you've got a canvas everywhere.
One of my nephews brought me some old cupboard doors one day. He said, Uncle Ed, you'd like to paint on them, so what you see with the birch frame around, that's all cupboard doors, right?
Oh, what a good idea.
Yeah. I did a showman at the rooms, you know, the rooms
Yes.
in St. John's. And this is a display of some stuff I took in with me when I did the presentation in Europe. You ever hear tell of Dale Jarvis?
No.
Dale Jarvis, he's the director of Heritage Newfoundland now. He's the one who got me to go in there and do this stuff. That's the pier that I did for my son with the rawhide look. But I've done to all different shapes and sizes. Those 5 piers there, they went to Grand Prairie. I sold several piers like that to somebody out in Yellowknife. See, when one person gets a pier, then you get a call from somebody else.
Yeah.
Can you send me a pair of snowshoes?
Well, they see them and say, wow, that's great. I want a pair too.
Oh, there's something else for my stage. Look, I was going to show you. All the fishermen used to set their traps for cod in certain places, and they were called cod trap birds, right? So what I did with my own memory and from some of my friends, I got the names of the birds. You go, there's certain marks you look at on the land. You go and find a spot to set your traps. The Upper Harbour Rock, Lower Harbour Rock, Northern Point Crown, Crow's Nest, Sinker, and that's the list of trap birds. And down these are the list names and good marks for going out hand lining and catching fish when the food fishery's on. So that's going down in my stage, right? I got 2 or 3 things that I'm making up to go down in the stage as a part of my display down there.
Very good.
That's just built on a big old piece of juniper wood. See, when I got it in my mind, I got the paints there put out, so it just I can put it on pretty quick then.
And that's your twin grandchildren?
Yeah, that's who it represents, so they might look like much like them, but I don't do faces very good, I tell you.
That's a great painting. It really does tell a story.
It tells a story, see, and I usually, like, the boat in the back would, from my mind, and they'll tell you now because I told them, that's Bobby Hayward's old schooner. The schooner is from 1944 when they're only from 2001.
Wow, you have a lot of paintings in here.
Pages are everywhere.
They're great.
There's something I've been doing lately, I'm not sure it is. One thing comes in mind, I got to tell you, I'll forget. Look, those here is something I just decided to try for fun. Just painted on a piece of foam board, look.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to paint the frame white. So I'll come in here and paint a little bit different, look.
Nice.
That's a piece of wood stained with my own homemade stain from vinegar and steel wool.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And they're all done on those foam boards, and that's an oil painting on foam boards. Look.
Wow.
It's something that I want to try and see if it'll work right.
The colors are fantastic.
And
So bright.
they're nice and bright, aren't they?
They are.
That's That's a scene that would have come from a little summer cabin that me and Marge used going up top the hill. And another thing I did for a trial, I got Marge to make me up some, Marge is my wife, got her to make me up some canvases that I taught them onto the snowshoe and paint with a scene on them. This is what I'm saying, I'm trying to learn how to paint outdoors. I went over into a friend's yard over in the other side of the harbour, but I think the colour is terrible. But it was fun trying. A lot of those are oil paintings. The little beige oval there is one of the first paintings I did. And when I met Marge first, she lived in Whitburn, and we used to walk in the evenings before we was married on the railway track. Mm-hmm. So that's, I told her that's when we was courting.
Aww.
Did you make that boat there, Edwin?
Yes, I did. I've got some more to show you. That's a model I made for my son who lives up in Calgary. When I was teaching school at the boys' home, I used to teach woodwork for a while. And a little native boy from Labrador made that for me. He carved it out with the router, right? So then, one time last winter, I was sitting here and looking at it, and I said, gee whiz, that'll make a nice painting. And there's my painting over there. Look, see it with the pink sky? That's, yes, and that's the idea. I used his carving to make that little painting. Look. That's one I did for somebody, the winter, who lives in England. Look. When we used to be young, we used to skate on her grandfather's garden, and it was called Peary's Garden. So that's a print of a painting I did for her, and I call it Remembering Peary's Garden. I tried to have a little story with paintings, right?
Well, painting does tell a story, right? I mean, just looking at it, you can see.
Yeah. Now
These are
that was one of the first paintings I ever did in my life.
Wow.
And you'd be surprised how many prints I sold of that. People liked it, right? I guess it's because of the color and stuff. Certainly because it's not because the figures are so great, but to tell the story though. We used to find a place to skate wherever there was a hole of water. Our skates were on our feet. See, look,
oh, that is gorgeous.
That's an oil painting, look.
Wow, that one's beautiful.
That one came out of the top of my head. That one there, I had a couple of children who wanted to come in here paint. I used to do free classes with kids, see? But since COVID come around, I can't do any of that anymore. So this lady she's a good painter, but she never done anything in oil. She asked me if I'd show her what I knew about oil, and that's the painting I did with her and a couple of kids here one day. There's another one on canvas, same thing.
Those are fantastic.
Family of Eagles. The old cellar. I think I made that up from a photograph that I had from Elston, I think. You can go around that fellow.
Oh my.
That's a rendering of Dad's little schooner. I sold it to a guy out in St. John's. It's a little punt. And he called it the Why Not. And when he sent me back a picture, he said, look at the paint I got, the name I got on my boat. It's Why Not. I said, what'd you call it the Why Not? He said, because when we were kids, he said, Dad, our father always said, go do this chore, go do that chore. And me and my brothers would always say why. Dad's reply was always, why not? He said, he sent me an email and said, my daughter saw a picture of the Why Not on the internet somewhere. What they were doing, they were out doing a photo shoot for this calendar into St. John's. That boat sits in St. John's near the War Memorial. That's why you see the big boats and stuff in the background. So they were out doing a photo shoot. They came across the boat. They were all there with the cameraman on the wharf saying to each other, you know, about would they get in the boat and do the shoot, right? And the girl, she wrote me a note. The girl, she says, why not? She sent me a Facebook message. She said, I'm sending you a calendar. And that's the calendar she sent me. Here's the note she wrote that came with the calendar. Look. She said, it's Susan, the girl doing the pose in your boat. When we were photo shooting, we saw the boat and the name and thought, why not? I am so happy that the one of the picture has made its way to you. Thank you for your beautiful craftsmanship and building a boat that brought us a lot of fun.
Oh, very nice.
That's a nice story, isn't it?
Yes, very nice.
You don't get much better than that.
And that's another painting of you building a boat, Edwin?
Yeah, that's my brother. That's what my brother did for me. I looked on birch trees.
Yeah, you do a really beautiful job on the birch trees.
Bolts.
Wow. Fantastic.
Strange calling bolts.
Wow. Beautiful. This is beautiful, isn't it?
That's one of the outdoor things on. And that turned out nice. Clifford really likes that one. Clifford told me he really likes that one. See, the boat that I saw in Collingwood, Ontario was actually built from this model.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I carved a model. That model represents, on this particular one, I think it's 3/4 inch to a foot. So I take the actual measurements off this model, draw it up to full size, and then I build a full-size boat by using the measurements and lines that I take off this model.
Wow.
Learned it from my dad. See, boats are symmetrical, so once you get one side, you got the other side, right? Sometimes I paint on birch panels and the little pieces I have left, look, and when I'm cleaning up my palette, I'll just paint on them. But before you leave, I want you to scout through them and take one for a souvenir for yourself.
Oh, wow, look at that. Wow, these are fantastic. Just like all your paintings, fantastic.
Thank you. There you go.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
So what's your new book called?
A guide to Edwin Bishop's art gallery on the Northern Point Hiking Trail.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
There's a book called Days Gone By. I did 16 or 18 pictures. And there's what they're like, look. Nice few over 200
Wow.
from this book. There's one of the first ones I ever did, a little book with 10 of my paintings into it, look. This here is one I did for my grandchildren, look. One time Jenna was saying, "Pop, what did you guys do for fun when you were little?" And I start telling her stuff that we used to do, right, and all those little pictures. And when they were gone to bed in the night, and I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning, I was still thinking about it. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, I started writing it down. And I wrote down, I made up a poem. I'll just read a little bit of it to you. There were toys to make and hay to break, whistles to whittle, tin cans for a kittle, rubber for slingshots, cans for crabs and tansy pots. I need to build toy boats and chasing old stinky goats, mixing pies from the mucks and building toy trucks. In the spring snow melts, we have to make stilts. Hockey sticks from crooked trees, boat builders use them for knees. Playing hide and seek, you wouldn't find some of us for a week. There were slides to ride, crab apples to hide, catching frogs from the bogs, carving boats from short logs, playing hopscotch, piddly and four-corner cush, building old smoky camps on the hill in the bush, pushing our rollers, bikes and barrel hoops, stealing crab apples, oops, catching old sticky connors, pushing snow from the ice with our slide runners. Our mothers used to say sometimes we were hardened because we were late coming home from Aunt Harnell's garden. Going berry picking at Island Pond Brook, Kelowna and Capon on a smoky fire to cook. Some would drink tea, enjoy it and whistle, and most of us would drink old good lemon crystal. Trouting had to be the best fun of all. We wanted to do it winter, spring, summer and fall, catching connors, flatties and scotons, capon, tomcads and squid. We used homemade jiggers from hot melted lead. Jigging was dirty, disgusting and caused quite a fuss, but that was just right for boys like us. Climbing rocks, cliffs, old barns and trees, getting spanked going home for having pants with no knees. At the wharfs after supper with no adults around, thanks be to God that none of us drowned. Killing gannets that came from to our barrelhead for scraps. In the afternoon going with the fishermen with their traps. borrowing the punt from old Mr. Reid and going out in the evening to jig us some squid. Playing spotlight at night on windy days, flying a kite, chasing jack-o'-lantern and spooks, wearing tin cans on our boots, tying old bin pegs behind our bikes was a must, because that way we could fly lots of dust. We were always on the run, having some kind of fun. Doing all of the above was exciting and cool. It's a wonder we had time to turn up at school. I think now that's enough of my garbles before some of you think I have lost my marbles. And I did. What I did then, I broke down the poems into little pictures to go along with them already.
Wow.
So that was my answer to my kids.
Aw.
And it's called Busy Boys.
I love that story.
There's one
Yes,
story,
I love that
there's
poem.
one story there.
Made me smile
There's one
all the
story
way
there.
through.
I had a poem published too. It's called Wooden Boats. The prettiest thing afloat is a wooden boat. Boats in their silence tell us stories. Somebody will say, how big was your punt? Or how big was your motorboat? And so punts and Rodneys and motorboats, they all got different lengths, so I'll use that for ages, see. Hi, I am Rodney. At 12, I am the smallest. I won't grow up, but for that I won't holler. Because at my size, I am the tender for the boat on the collar. To get there, I have to be sculled or rowed. Not like my brother the punt, he has to be told. Hi, I am punt. I am 14, 16 or more. Not like Rodney, I'll go farther from shore. Yes, sometimes I get towed. That's important because I carry half of the load. I can be sculled, rowed, or even sailed if all else failed. Hi, I am the master boat, pluck, pluck, pluck. I am 18, 24 or more because I have to go even farther from shore. I am the master because with my make and break Acadia I can go faster. I have to be flat and wide because I carry a lot of fish inside. Hi, I am schooner. I am the mother of all the fleet because with my sails up I look pretty sweet. I go far away and I usually stay more than a day. My crews go in dories and face wet and cold, so they could use straws to catch fish to salt in my hole. Hi, I am Dory. At 16, I look pretty slick in my colors of buff and green. I take the cruise to catch the fish for the schooner, and if there's lots, the crews get to go home sooner.
That's great.
That's great. So you've been published?
I got a story written about that boat and the sharks. That's about 6 or 7 or 8 pages long, right? And it talks about me being a boy, and then it goes from me being a boy out fishing with my dad to growing up and getting married and having my own children, and then the two grandkids came along. So the story ends up with me making a sailboat for the grandkids. Now, when I was a boy, I was out with Dad and he caught a shark. But the shark was a little shark, so I felt sorry for him and then let him go, right? So I bring the story to the point where this shark has grown up so big now he's the leader of all the sharks in the ocean, right? So then my grandkids are out in the sailboat and the wind dies down and it starts to rain and they get lost and then this big shark comes up and scares them all to death, but they realize the shark is trying to help them out, right? So for Dad letting the shark go when I was a kid, the shark was bringing my grandkids back to the safety of the harbour. He took out the rope and he hauled the boat back to the safety of the harbour, right? So I did a little story wrote probably 8 or 10 pages long, I suppose. Never had too much to do. I started carving little boats, and that's the first one I carved up there. That's a half model. Half models are actually I built some real boats that are half models, but that's a half a boat, and everything in it is made out of wood, even the sails. This one actually got make and break engine, see. I made that engine out of lead, and I bored holes, a certain amount of holes that I wanted in the wood. And then I melted lead in an old iron bake pot, and I poured the lead in little holes I had made, see? So I sculpted the little engine.
Well, we've had a great time with you. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.